World Cup, you have to do something that is out of the box. You need a bit of luck, you need a bit of this, you need a bit of vision and some ingenuity to make you win the World Cup, and we had that.
We knew that if we can stick together as a team, there's no one else that can beat us.
We were a team, from number 1 to number 30, a team. There was no first stringers and second stringers, and I think that's why we won it.
The fact that the rugby was great and we went on and we won it was special, and the fact that we went the distance probably helped, you know, the growth and unification period be longer and be extended. But the significance was far greater than a sporting event.
South Africans are very passionate about rugby, to put it mildly.
Rugby is like religion in South Africa. It's just something you do as a youngster. The Springboks went to New Zealand in 1981. I was just a young boy. There were 1 or 2 other tours, early 83, 84, and then the shop closed. So we spent that whole period of isolation playing provincial rugby.
That was actually the test match arena in the years of apartheid, where Transvaal would play Western Province, Northern Transvaal, Natal, and very provincially oriented.
You know, we grew up in this environment where we didn't know anything else.
It started to change in 1992, obviously when we were re-allowed back into the international arena. Everything just opened up for us and we started to become alive, and I actually think that South African rugby started to excel.
Just to be able to compete on the world scene and play against the best and judge yourself against the best, something every player aspires to do, and the opportunity was suddenly there and it was taken by both hands. 1995 was the first time we participated in a Rugby World Cup. We were fortunate enough to hold it in South Africa. It was just an incredibly special time. Very close after Madiba walked free out of jail for the first time. Very close after, a year after our first fully democratic elections. It just came at a time where it meant more than just a rugby competition. It meant a whole lot more to a nation that was busy growing together and building and, you know, just beginning a new start, a new life in many ways.
It is my privilege to declare this the 1995 Rugby World Cup tournament open.
All of a sudden, here was one team that was, thanks to the support of Nelson Mandela, who openly showed it, this one team all of a sudden became a sign of a new nation. And our motto was one team, one nation.
Everybody just started to support South Africa from A to Z. Even when we drove in the bus to the field, it was unbelievable. For the first time I've ever seen so many black people, to be honest, who just supported us from A to Z, in Springbok jerseys and supporter gear in the streets, all over the show.
Wherever you go, people were just chatting about it, and everyone wanted to know what's happening in the camp. How is the Springboks going to do? Do you think New Zealand? Do you think Australia? England at the time was also playing well, and those are the things, you know. People were just very interested in the game. Black, white, people that even not interested in rugby, they were also asking these things, because it was such an amazing tournament organised by the South African people.
Building up to the World Cup, a young team that has come out of isolation started to pick up a lot of experience, and they were very well poised. But then there was selection, and it was the biggest thing.
We had a test or a practice game before we played the Rugby World Cup in 1995 against Samoa, and I pulled my hamstring against Samoa.
He was distraught, and we chatted about it on the flight, and he said, no, he's really struggling and he's trying to hang in, but it's bad. He's not sure, and he had to withdraw.
But Kids Christie then promised me that if anyone gets injured, doesn't matter if it's a prop or a hooker or a fullback or a wing, I'll be back in the squad.
Kids Christie, he was just one of those guys that didn't take any nonsense. And when he had his squad together and he just said, you know, you'll have a chance to be part of a World Cup team, and everybody just lift their spirits and lift their levels of fitness and lift their levels of skills, and just to be part of that team.
And that was almost job done, you know, and then you had to, okay, hang on, you're here now, fine. Now the real work starts.
First game in Cape Town against Australia. Before the game on the stadium, I've never had that atmosphere in my life. You just took in the emotion, and it's as if the people celebrated the win of that match even beforehand.
It was the toughest draw. Undefeated Australia in 12 months of Test match rugby. They were the favourites to win the World Cup, and they had such an unbelievable team. Their back line was the best in the world. Gregan, Liner, Horan, Little, Campo, it's just, I mean, just stars. Their pack, John Eales, they had David Wilson, Phil Kearns. It's just an enormous pack.
The lead up, like a year out, was fantastic. We didn't drop a test. We beat New Zealand at home in a really tight contest, and we came through that with a lot of confidence.
But we went into it focusing on how we're going to win the World Cup. South Africa went in focusing on how we're going to beat Australia in that first game.
We knew that if we beat Australia, we had the high road, and if you lost to Australia, you had the low and the very difficult road.
If we win the first game, we will be in the final, and that's what we believe.
We wanted to give Peter Hendricks the ball with space. He's very, very quick, very physical and tough to beat. And so that was the action plan, to do that. And to get into the game, to be in their face and be competitive. And I think we played our best game almost in the opening match.
First time we really had some real continuity. We moved the ball, we attacked from deep. The ball went out and Peter Hendricks ran around David Campese and went and scored. You know, up until that moment, we believed we could win. We said we believed we could beat Australia, this great team. But up until that point, you know, we were hanging in, and psychologically we were probably ready to be picked off. But all of a sudden, when that happened, we all, chests came out, tails up. That's it, you know, we are going to win this game.
When Giles Transky went in behind the poles, it was just, the plan was set, just go and do it. Every single thing we did, it worked for us. And we just knew that Kits was right, you know, just go out, believe in the game plan, believe in each other, and nothing's going to stop you. When we won that match, we knew we had a chance to win the World Cup in 1995. But wow, the way the country stuck behind us was just unbelievable.
I think in hindsight, it was the best possible draw for us, because when we got over that hurdle, the whole team started believing, and everybody started, and the country started saying, hang on a minute, these guys might just do this thing.
ESPN, el canal del Mundial de Rugby.
Actron Rápida Acción elimina los dolores corporales intensos del deporte.
Faltan 10 días para el comienzo del Mundial de Rugby Nueva Zelanda 2011. Te viviremos a toda hora, estés donde estés, por ESPN. ESPN, el canal del Mundial de Rugby.
We started with a big bang, and I think when you train for so long to beat one team and you beat them, you know, it's quite hard to just get your feet back on the ground and re-establish new goals. It takes a couple of days, to overcome the euphoria of such a great victory. We 3 or 4 days after beating Australia, we played Romania, I think, on the Saturday. We played terribly.
The funny thing is that actually it's one of those games where you go on the field and you know you're going to win this thing. The matter of the fact is that we didn't even care about the tally of points. We just wanted to win. And Kitch also said, if it's 1 point, if it's 10 points, if it's 50 points, I don't care. Just go out, play your game, enjoy it and win it, because that's what we need to do.
He's in all sorts of trouble, taken there by the South African loose forwards. This is good play by South Africa. Are they in possession?
We won narrowly, we struggled, and maybe that in a sense helped, because it sort of realised, it brought us all back to ground and said, you know what, you're not invincible. You're going to have to lift your game now, because it's not only about beating Australia. You've done that. You now have to go out there and you've got to put the pressure on the smaller sides. You've got to win. You've got to win well. You've got to win your quarter, your semi, and then give yourself a chance. We then went to Port Elizabeth for what was a nightmare night. We had to play against Canada, who at the best at times were very physical, very aggressive, very strong in the way they play the game. Not always that skillful, but very abrasive in the way they go about things. What didn't help is just before kick-off, the lights went out and we had time to relax. We like to think the Canadians had another 45 minutes to get even more sucked up and more aggressive and more physical.
Kitch Christie came with a game plan where every American, Northern American sport, they always use their upper body. Ice hockey, basketball, American football. He believed the upper body was very strong. And he said, if you want to make contact with him, you're going to have a hell of a game. So rather kick it. Kick the ball behind them, chase. Kick the ball behind them, chase. And that's what we did.
We struggled. We didn't play that badly. We didn't really convert opportunities.
I think there was quite a few South Africans playing in the Canadian team, and that's why that actually motivated them to play the way they played against South Africa. Then that's was the only way actually to beat South Africa is to intimidate us, to be negative towards, negative rugby.
They knew that the only way they could try and get over us is to be aggressive. And actually they took some of the players by surprise, because we knew it's going to be aggressive, but we didn't know it was going to be that big.
We lost a couple of guys to injury, couldn't play for the quarterfinal. I had a cut inside my eye. Hannes Stradum had a really nasty gash. Andre Joubert broke his thumb. The prince of fullbacks, the Rolls Royce of fullbacks, all of a sudden with a broken hand, and he'd been so influential in our game plan with a right footer and a left footed kicker. It was a big concern for us.
And I think just for one split second we lost our cool, and yeah, gods.
And the rules then stated the third man into a fracas gets sent off. So James Dalton came in to help. And if you actually look at the video, James just pulled the guy to the side and didn't really throw a punch or did anything, but the rules were the rules, so he got sent off, and I was furious. And afterwards, Peter got banned because of his involvement. I was furious. We were very disciplined. People might now chuckle and say, yeah, sure, looking at that video you guys were. The guys were collective, but we were very disciplined, and when this thing broke, we didn't go into the match to provoke it. We had 20 points in the bag. There was no reason for us to do anything untoward.
It was one of those experiences where adversity and the fact that we lost players, it could easily have, helped drag a bit of the moral high and out of a team. What it did is it actually helped us grow closer and helped us grow stronger from this really tough experience.
And losing these two guys, to me as a captain, I was furious. I thought I let them down. I thought the system let them down. I mean, they trained so hard. They were so focused on playing in this tournament, and now their dreams shattered. And I took a while to get over that. But Chester helped us.
They actually called me after the game immediately, and I was very excited. I actually didn't know how to feel, because it was just an amazing feeling, or to think that I'm back in the squad.
He explained to us what's happening in this country, what's happening in the streets of South Africa. And I asked him to tell the team, what a wonderful opportunity we have. And we turned that negative into a positive.
Being back in the team, and now I'm playing in the quarterfinals in front of my own crowd, and everyone's expecting me to do well in the World Cup. Because I'm not only representing myself there, but I'm representing the whole South Africa, the black people especially at the time.
Viví el Mundial de Rugby Nueva Zelanda 2011 a través de las plataformas de ESPN.
Siempre junto al deporte.
Faltan 10 días para el comienzo del Mundial de Rugby Nueva Zelanda 2011. Que viviremos a toda hora, estés donde estés, por ESPN.
Ay, yo con Carlos me saqué la lotería. Es un ángel. Se levanta bien temprano y desayuna rapidito para llegar puntual a la oficina. Es súper responsable. Y me manda mensaje de texto a cada hora. Miren, ahora está almorzando con Ramírez y Basualdo. Si no me llamas porque está en algún curso de liderazgo, algo así. Y encima, no voy al gimnasio, pobre. Cuando llega, siempre puntual, impecable. Es un ángel.
Nueva Quilmes Lieder, rica, refrescante y sin alcohol. Quilmes, el sabor del encuentro.
the week beforehand, Kitch had a very hard talk to most of the players. He wasn't the best technical coach, but he was a very, very good people skills coach. And he knew that we were starting to get complacent, starting to go into a comfort zone. And he just walked in and he took every single guy out. Stop doing this, stop doing this. If you're doing that again, you're out of here. And everybody said, okay, we're back in business.
You know, it brings out the South Africans, a terrific roar from the crowd. Chester Williams, probably one of the happiest men in South Africa today. His opportunity has come with Peter Hendricks having been pushed out of the tournament.
Chester was the face of South Africa leading up to the World Cup. There was a lot of pressure on him as an individual. You know, he was, all the major sponsors used him, playing enormous rugby, and I think that pressure on him must have been tremendous.
Being part of a Springbok team was a great honour, but you know, as the first black player being selected at the time, it was just one of those opportunities for me to give the youngsters in South Africa, the so-called black people, also to believe that they can also play at that level and be competitive.
By the time he came in, the momentum was there. It helped that we all of a sudden weren't just a white-only team. But I think in the bigger scheme, Chester is probably more appreciated for his input on the field than for anything else.
My glory, my pride, can't take it if you try. My glory, my pride, can't take it if you try. I see ya, you want it, come get it, I got it. I see ya, you want it, come get it, I got it.
All the politicians can do with Chester, with non-white players, whatever they like. We know in our heart as a player, even white, black, whatever. You know when you're there on merit or when you're not on merit. If it wasn't for his injury, he would have been there anyway.
The only way to prove to people that they are there on merit and not because of your colour of your skin is to go out there and play the game or the sport you love so much.
He just slotted in, unbelievable, and all the guys knew. I mean, very good player, talented player, very quiet player, down on the ground, no problems, and he was actually one of the big teammates.
And that positive influence helped the side against Samoa, and then he went on and scored 4 tries.
For some reason, fate and destiny and whatever it is transpired to bring him back in and play a major role, to score 4 tries in a test match. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, and 4 great tries.
I'm not too sure the 4th one is a try, but it's the ref has given it, so in the record it's a try.
After the 4 tries he scored, people saw, wow, okay, we were wrong, this guy is good.
It was an amazing feeling when I got off the field. Frans Apina came and told me that 4 tries in a test match is the most tries a Springbok ever scored. I was very happy, and I phoned my mom and to tell her that I scored the most tries for Springbok in a test match. History is history, but you know, if you look back at it, you feel honoured to be part of that team.
For me, it was into the tough rounds, but we got through those early stages, through the hard bits, and grew stronger.
I really, really had a sense of belief that we can go all the way, that we have a real chance of pulling this off. Basically because I had such a confidence in the team and the management, and I saw what we did and how we gained an experience, and that we had a team that can play a range of moves, styles, and we can attack each and every opposition in a different manner. That always is the crux of a good team. Can you play a tight game? Can you play an expansive game? Can you play in the midfield? Do you have strength in the pack? Do you have strength in the backs? Do you have good kicking, left boot, right boot? So when you have that, then you've almost got a complete side, and then it's up to you as management and as team to decide, in this game we're going to apply that and it works, and in that game we have to do this and it works.
You must remember we were a lot of young people, players as well in the team. Frans will work with me one-on-ones as well. I was 24, 25 years old. Just to try and teach me some experience, skills as well. And I think just the sense that he focused on individual players as well made him a good captain.
If we do things correctly, we can go all the way, because we were very fit. And people might say, yeah, but everybody would be fit. We were very, very fit. But we were fit as a unit, and we did things together. So there was a collectiveness, and we had a bright coaching team that could pick players out of the box.
The man behind the whole success story of beating the French, it was Kitch Christie.
He had this wonderful ability to bring the best and the most out of every single individual as an individual and as a team player.
He actually kept our feet on the ground, and he worked us hard actually that week. We didn't understand why, but we had the respect for that man, and we just did it because he told us, and he's the coach, and whatever he told us, we believed in him.
No solo se encuentran sus historias en la final de la Rugby World Cup de 1987. Francia y Nueva Zelanda son los seleccionados que más minutos han disputado en la Copa del Mundo, con 36 partidos cada uno. Luego de aquella memorable definición que consagró a los All Blacks en la primera cita mundial, ambos lograron acceder solo una vez más a otra final del mundo, con idéntica suerte, frente a los dos únicos bicampeones mundiales. Los de negro cayeron ante Sudáfrica en la final del Mundial 95 y los franceses ante Australia en la definición de 1999. Si la tercera es la vencida, se sabrá en octubre.
Actron Rápida Acción elimina los dolores corporales intensos del deporte.
Into Durban, and I've never seen weather like that.
We thought, somebody did something wrong somewhere for that amount of rain to fall.
The whole hospitality village was flooded. People came into the stadium out of the 5-star luxury hospitality with carrying their shoes and, in their white pants with mud up to their knees.
And the pitch was waterlogged, so I thought, fine, it's okay. We came here with a plan, got the guys into the changing room. We put up a television screen with a video, and we went through, this is how we want to play, this is the areas of the game, these are the conditions now, so we changed our tactics, and then the referee said to us the game will be postponed by another half an hour. Mr. Bevan came in with Mornay. And then he said something that actually hit me like a sledgehammer. He said, then if we can't play in half an hour, you guys are out of the World Cup. I looked up at Morna and he just stood there and he shook his head. I didn't know the rules of the game stated that if the game is not played for whatever reasons that evening, it's not postponed, it's cancelled, and the team with the worst disciplinary record is out of the World Cup.
I mean, we had 2 reds and the yellow, and France, I don't think they had any, and that's the sad thing. I mean, it's a type of ruling where you can't compete and you can't fight because it's a rule and you can't change it.
We said no way. We don't want to go through like that. You have to go through to the final having won the semi-final on the pitch.
There are some wonderful pictures of people sweeping the field, trying to get the water off so the game could take place.
Some of the crowd couldn't wait to get themselves on the field as well, just to help getting that field dry. But I mean, I can just imagine that was white, black, everyone just tried to sweep the water off the field because they knew that it was important for us to play that game. But apart from that, it just proved to us, the years already, the unification was there already. People wanted to be part of South Africa and the South African Springbok rugby team.
A lot of overseas press, use that specific moment to go back in racism and to go back into apartheid. And, those type of people were actually trying to help South Africa, if you look at it in that sense. And that's how we looked at it. Again, we just wanted to play. I mean, I would have gone in and swept the freaking water of the pitch. We just stayed in the changing room and waited, and we were so scared that they were going to call the game off. But Kitch just walked up and down the corridor. He spoke to every single guy. This game will not be called off.
He was telling us that he had phoned Disney World to Epcot's weather centre and the rain was going to stop and the game was going to happen and not to worry, everything's okay. And
we were very tense because we wanted to get on the field but we couldn't, and then Kids Christie was always the one that comes back to us in France and just relax guys, don't worry, we'll play this game. It's just that we need to keep our focus. Go and lie down, don't worry, just lie down and do whatever you want to, but as long as you just keep your focus and be ready for this game.
We went and we had a cup of coffee and we read the paper. We try to stay calm because I think the key in any situation like that is when you're left to wait and you are nervous and tense and the adrenaline's pumping, you can actually lose energy. You can burn up that energy before you get on the field and be exhausted by the time the game starts.
I also think that between Francois Kitchen and Monet du Plessis, their people skills helped us through the day as well.
That's the one thing I believe Francois was good at as a captain. He was very good at preparing the players mentally and physically, the side of Kids Christie.
Did a bit of relaxation, put the guys on the floor, put off the lights and just thought about the game, what we want to achieve, what is our focus, our personal focus and the team focus, and then they came back and said the game is on.
We sang in the rain, we just saw the people, everybody's wet, everybody just wanted us to win so badly, to see all these faces. And I mean, we also realized that for these people to sit in this rain, they really wanted to see us play, and we used that as motivation.
And we put up a nice score in the beginning.
The conditions probably suited us a little bit more. We all love to watch the French play. They have this ability to run and score and show their French flair from almost anywhere on the field. Those conditions took that away.
If the French want to run it, they can run it, but we just make sure that our defensive lines is right and they can come at us, but we're not going to let them get past us that easily.
We played in the conditions, we defended well, we played quite well. We got lucky with one or two of the balls that didn't bounce, that just plopped in the water and managed to collect and scurry it away from our danger zone.
And in the second half, we almost froze. We had the final. We're in the final if we can just keep our cool, and we almost lost our cool.
The match was difficult. It was difficult for a number of reasons. One, that French side was a very, very good team.
We'd started quite slowly, but we were still very much in the game. The South Africans initially dominated and were in the lead, but we gained momentum and finished strongly.
Of course, there will always be the debate as to whether Abdel Benazir did score the try or not. We'll always say he was that much short. If it was 1 hair, it was 1 inch, it could have been a meter, he was short.
Galtier, Delo, again the chip to test Andre Hubert. Hubert loses it this time. This is Benazir who goes forward. They're over the line. Benazir not given the try.
We were all chasing from behind, and he went for the line, and I thought he scored.
Abdel Benazir fell on me. He's not tackled by a South African, but I make him fall.
And as the bodies untangled, his arm was between the ball and the try line. Now, I've roomed with Abdel and we've had this debate. He said maybe I was over. His arm was. They were that close in going to the final.
Abdel Benazir, he even says himself, he thinks it's the best for the world that he was stopped, that South Africa could go, because it meant more for South Africa than anybody else. And in the true spirit of rugby, a man like him can recognise that.
Galtier, the scrum half waits. Galtier to Lacroix. Lacroix tackled. And back the French go. And South Africa win the scrimmage.
That was the most important scrum. I think, in our careers. And Quibus was incredibly fit, so he grabbed Barley Swart and he said to me, in the next scrum, you can go up, you can go down, but you're not coming back.
The worst thing was I was crazy kicked the ball out like not even 2 meters away from the try line, and the referee wasn't sure if he must blow the whistle or not.
That whistle could not have come at a more opportune moment for us.
We were in the final, it was just amazing.
We were just standing in a huddle in the change room, and we just said to each other, you know what, we still need to be humble, keep our feet on the ground, and a final we still have to play.
For myself personally, it was a sad game. As I turned my back, Benazir went into my rib and I broke my rib. So I played 10-15 minutes further. I couldn't pass the ball anymore, and I had to leave the field. And that was the week before the final. If Kitch would find out, he's not going to go in with a team that's injured. So I had to lie a little bit. Went out to the doctor and I said, no, it's around about here. So I just went a little bit to the side, a few inches to the side, and I said, no, okay, we'll see, we'll talk on Monday. He found out eventually, but I just convinced him. I said, don't worry, we'll kill it somehow. We'll strap it, I'll be ready. And I also think he knew that the heart was bigger than the mind at that stage. And I think that's why he still gave me a chance.
Ay, yo con Carlos me saqué la lotería. Es un ángel. Se levanta bien temprano y
Juan Leguizamón, tengo 28 años y juego de tercera línea. Empecé a jugar, mi club de toda mi vida es Santiago Lawn Tennis, de Santiago del Estero. Jugué la mayor parte, digamos, de tercera línea. Tuve un par de años que jugué de centro cuando era más chico, así que después de Santiago Lawn Tennis me fui a Buenos Aires a vivir y jugué en el SIC una temporada y media aproximadamente. A mí personalmente siempre me gustaba, veía los partidos del SIC por la tele de Santiago y me divertía la idea, me gustaba el desafío. Tenía 20 años, más o menos, 21, y me gustaba mucho el desafío, ir a Buenos Aires, a vivir solo en una ciudad grande, que la conocía bastante, pero bueno, una cosa era ir por cierto motivo y otra cosa era ir a vivir. Respecto al próximo mundial, nada, me parece que estamos todos esperando algo parecido, ¿no? Que sea un mundial bueno, que el equipo tenga una actuación positiva desde todos los ámbitos y que podamos hacer un paso a paso muy positivo, ir partido a partido y lograr algo, ¿no?
We played the Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, we played the semi-final, the All Blacks played on the Sunday. We sat and we watched the All Blacks annihilate England.
We played with such a speed and such intensity, the teams really couldn't stay with us.
I I'd be lying if, having watched that game, I thought, well, we could win it. And Kitch Christie was in and out the team room, and he was recording it, and Mark Andrews and I were playing pool. Kitch Christie, at the end of the game, rewound the tape and watched it again, and we rewound parts of it and watched it again, and by then it was sort of dinner time, and he stood up away from the recorder and he sort of walked past Mark and I, and he went, "We can beat them." And I think at that point, you only maybe realize it afterwards, but you realize the significance of that. This man you have so much faith in, so much belief in, who openly just stood there and casually said, "We can beat them." I think at that point you realize, well, if he thinks we can beat them, you know what, we can beat them.
The semi-final actually gave away the game plan. We saw New Zealand just spreading the ball wide to Jonah Loma, and we knew that they were going to use him as a weapon. I mean, it was awesome.
If you give Loma outside gap with space, he then ran the 100 meters on grass in, I'm sure, under 11 seconds, and he weighed over 120 kilograms. So how do you stop this guy? You don't give him the outside space. You bring him into traffic. If you bring him into traffic, then you have an opportunity to stop him. If you don't do that, then you're going to have trouble.
At the end of the day, Kitch said that it was my job to stop Jonah Loma wherever, whenever. I must just watch that guy. And obviously with the rip, I had a little bit of doubt, but coming the Wednesday before the final, my mind was so ready that I knew that I watched a lot of tapes about Jonah, his running lines, the moves they're doing, and sort of plotted my defensive lines on cross defense.
On the Thursday afternoon, the forwards went to do some lineouts, and I went to do some kicking with them, and Kitch Christie asked me when I'd finished kicking and the forwards were still doing lineouts, he said, "Why don't you kick more drop goals?" And I remember, you stand there and you think, and I was quite cynical about it because I wasn't very good at it, and I'd never been all that good at it. I remember being quite cynical and thinking, well, he would think that because he doesn't understand how difficult it is. You've got to drop it perfectly, kick it perfectly, you've got to get the ball with time to do all that. You've got Zinzan Brook and Mike Brewer and Josh Kronfeld all charging down at you, trying to stop it and knock your head off. But what he did is he planted the seed, and just altogether the management of our team was just phenomenal. And then we had a whole country unifying around us.
Actually, that morning, when we went for a small jog outside the hotel in Johannesburg, the morning of the final, there were little kids that were selling newspapers, little black kids that were selling newspapers on the street corners that ran next to us, and they shouted the names.
And they kept up with us, and they were chatting in the final and good luck, and it was just a altogether special time.
It was just evident when we trained through South Africa and we moved through this country how everyone was starting to embrace the Amaboko, the Springboks.
We then had breakfast, and then there was this period of waiting.
Go and eat and wait. Strap and wait. Dress and wait. I hate to wait. I just want to go out and play. And
already we were all very nervous. Kitch Christie walked in and he looked at us and he went, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not playing against you guys today." That was all he said. That was his team talk.
The guys were very nervous, and I tried to just calm them down, but they were just so nervous. Some of the guys were almost physically ill.
Francois stood up and smiled at us, and as much as tense as we were, it's just a calming influence. We puffed out our chests, we felt a little more confident, a little more self-belief, and we went, "Oh, we're invisible, no one's going to beat us today." And altogether, that whole psychological and mental approach just really, from Kitch Christie, put us in a state, along with the great words of Francois Pinault, the great leadership. It was our day, it was our destiny, and it was our fate.
On the bus, the people, the traffic officers that were riding the motorcycles, they were so tense. I mean, these guys were pumped taking us to Ellis Park. I just slipped in a tape. It's a song by Roger Whittaker. I don't believe in if anymore. If is an illusion.
If is for children, we don't believe in if anymore. And really the message that we all got from the song was that, it's in our hands. It's not if this, if the ball, if that. It's in our hands. And Francois brought that in, and he brought that self-belief and the charisma that when he stood and puffed his chest out, we all puffed our chests out and felt invincible. We got to the ground, we had a little look around, we got in the change room, we were getting strapped up, the last bits of strapping, starting to get dressed.
There's a lot of stress in the change room, a lot of emotions, just dead quiet.
And there was this sudden knock on the door, and this big man with shoulders this size, twice the size of any other players, stuck his head in and looked around, nodded, and then in came Nelson Mandela into our change room, wearing his Springbok shirt with his Springbok cap.
And then we realized that the whole country is behind us. And for this man to wear a Springbok jersey was a sign, not just for us, but for the whole of South Africa, that we have to unite, and we have to unite today.
Came around to each of us, shook our hands, said good luck, and it wasn't just good luck, play well, it was, for the forwards it was, good luck up front. I know it's going to be hard and physical, he got to me, kick well, control things. It was, he knows the game, he understood the game, and it was just so personal and so special. And
then he turned around and there was this number 6 on his back, and that was me. She said, I was so emotional. I couldn't sing the anthem. I was just too emotional, too proud.
He was actually the biggest motivation to us as a team, because for a president, ever first time in the world, coming there in the change room with the rugby jersey on, not even we would have expected the president coming in with a tie and a suit. And there he comes in with the rugby jersey. That was enough said to us.
We were on this huge high. We stood in the tunnel, lined up to go down the tunnel. The real Afrikaans influence, the real discipline. The captain first, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. New Zealanders were far more relaxed. They were captain, and then in no particular order. Lomu was a couple ahead of me, in line with our loose forwards. And he was bigger than all of them. his neck was bulging out his shirt, and I just remember thinking, oh my God, he's enormous.
I've become very good friends with Sean Fitzpatrick. He's a lovely guy, and he tells a story that he looked at us and there were guys crying, and he thought, we'll have quite a tough game here.
In South Africa, they couldn't have hoped for a better final, the Springboks against the All Blacks, I don't think. And so it was just a wonderful occasion, and then meeting Nelson Mandela.
You're just shaking this guy's hand. It's just like, it's just such a scary sort of, it's eerie, just sort of, it's Nelson Mandela. You're shaking this guy's hand. He's been locked in prison for 25 years. And the motion that you're looking at him, you think you'd be sort of a little bit sort of twisted or angry about the whole thing. But he's just like, yeah, how are you, da-da-da. And just, I just think it was just such a, sort of a special moment for any person.
It's hard to appreciate the significance at the time of meeting a man like that when, 5 minutes away you're kicking off in a World Cup final.
The haka was quite special in the sense that the week running up, a lot of people sent emails and faxes that with the haka we must do this, and with the haka we must do that, and for us it was a war cry, and we actually used it as motivation.
France said that we're gonna hug together. We're gonna stand together and hug each other, facing the All Black doing the haka.
We grabbed each other, and suddenly, when the haka started, I just felt that we're moving forward.
They walked forward to us, and we just decided we're gonna walk towards them because we're gonna accept the challenge.
Everybody just decided, come, just come, we're ready for you. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
Kubazisa was very, very hyped up about this whole situation. He would actually walk closer and closer to Joe Maloma, almost right into his face.
I can remember that I was looking for Bishop, and I just looked him in the eye the whole time, and at one stage he just looked down and I knew, he's mine today. So it was actually awesome to see it up front.
It was tight, it was close, it was physical, it was hard, it was everything you'd expect from a World Cup final.
One team was very talented, the other team was very gutsy, a unit. and the one team couldn't get past the team that was working as a unit, and another team, we as a team that's working as a unit can't get past the talented team.
We actually thought we scored a try in that first off through Ruben Kruger, and Morrison disallowed the try.
We all could see that he was lying on top of the ball. Only the ref didn't accept it.
We spend a lot of time on discipline and accepting decisions and moving on to the next thing. You know, if there was a video referee, these days the try would have been awarded. He was unsightly, didn't give the try, which had a immediate negative effect. But fortunately, because we prepared for it, the team switched totally into a positive mode again. It happened, let's move on to the next move.
With what we did before and in the preparation, I had two jobs. One is to stop the drop kicks and one is to stop Jonah Loma. The ruck formed and the ball went out to Mertens. And he dumped it to the outside. I went on cross defense. And suddenly I just saw this big person coming through this gap. And I realized in actually a split second, you know, it was a question of just do anything to bring him down, otherwise you're going to make your name Michael Cat. So, watching England the week before, it's just a joke. But I just knew that I had to do something and tackle that beast head on.
Final whistle blew, and this whole stadium was reverberating by the sounds of Shosholoza. Everybody was singing.
We were actually quite fresh. Felt fresh because we had the support and people. We knew that the people is behind us.
And I just said to them, if you play for the people here today that are singing in the stadium and for the guys in South Africa, you'll be okay. That was it.
We felt fantastic. You know, Kitch Christie had us so fit, and his whole philosophy had been that the fittest team would win the World Cup. We were so fit. The final whistle went and we went to extra time and we went, yeah, great, you know, this is even better for us.
Kitch Christie said to us, just try and get into the New Zealand 20.5. Make sure we either create a penalty or give the ball to Joel Stransky so that he can drop.
When Mertens kicked over the penalty, we knew that now we have to focus. We were running out of time, kept on watching the scoreboard, and it felt like another half.
This is a kick of great importance from Stransky. Yes, he's got it!
If it was a draw, we would lose the cup. New Zealand would win the cup based on the sending-offs. We needed the points.
We had the scrum about 10-15 meters from their try line on the right-hand side.
I actually called a move whereby Ruben Kruger and myself would go on the blind, set up an opportunity for him to go for the drop goal.
And I just looked up, I saw where Bishop was focused. Joost had put the ball in already. Henry Mertens was standing a little bit wider. There was just this, you know, this gaping hole that I could step into.
And as I put the ball in, Joel just shouted
cancel. Joost listened.
And I just shouted cancel. I didn't even care if the forwards heard me or nothing, but the ball came out, and I still think till today that Bishop made his biggest mistake on defence ever. Because on the left-hand side of a scrum, the fly-off is the scrum of man. You have to get to the fly-off. And he was trying to tap down my pass. And I think that was his biggest mistake. And I just knew that was the most important pass for me because that was our last chance.
Van der Westhuizen, Stransky looks for the drop. Has he got it? Yes, it's over!
I could have kicked every kick as well as that. I would have been renowned as a good kicker.
And as it went over, I just jumped all over John. And we knew it was over.
When we ran back, we just said, now we must just get the ball, make sure we catch the ball, keep the ball, and kick it as fast, as deep as possible into their half. They start running from there if they want to run, but they knew they can't run because the defenses was just amazing at the time. And we managed to get ourselves in their half. And they made a mistake. We got a scrum, and
we had a move 8-9 to the right, and I knocked the ball. I thought to myself, no. But as I said the O of no, the whistle went, and I just jumped in there. I think it was my highest jump ever. I think it was my best knock-on ever as well.
We all ran into each other, straight to my former huddle.
I went down on my knee to say thank you for the massive opportunity, and as soon as I realized that the whole team was around me, and we just bowed our heads and said thanks for the opportunity to play in such an unbelievable tournament. And I don't think it was that cool to cry in front of how many billions of viewers all over the world, but that was my emotion.
Francois. And then we had 65,000 South Africans here today. Tremendous support.
David, we didn't have 60,000 South Africans. We had 43 million South Africans.
When Francois lifted a trophy, I actually just looked at all the people. And then we started to realize actually what we did. Seeing Nelson Mandela, I mean, he stood like this all the time when Francois lifted the trophy. And think about what that guy did for this country. And now suddenly we did something for this country. And it's quite a lesson for everybody that we can do things together.
When we got in the bus, we couldn't get out of the stadium because the street was full of people and they didn't want to let go. That's when we actually realized how close the people were to each other.
The togetherness and the pride of one nation was just so special.
I've never ever seen all the people hugging each other, playing in the streets, running in the streets, different color, different cultures. It's just one unbelievable evening that I'll never forget as a person.
It was always for 43 million people. We were one team that played for one country.